Hey everyone, welcome back to Bros and Shows. I am your host Josiah, aka Muller67, and with me, as always, I got my buddy, I got my pal, I got my brother Austin. Austin, how you doing today?
I'm not doing too bad.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. Oh, today was a recovery day for me, man.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, I'm still like kind of tired still, but basically like yesterday I had both no Friday I did the tabletop tabletop VTM and then the LARP at the same time. Then Saturday I had to do another LARP. I was running all over the place. Meanwhile, my back is getting a little better since last time you saw me at the house, because my back kind of went out of whack and I just was kind of like absorbing it, I guess. It's getting a little bit better. I'm able to like do more things. Takes less time for it to like adjust some, like, the basic stuff like it always is. But like since Friday night, every night I was going to bed at like 3-4 o'clock in the morning, because I would get back at like 2 a.m. and then I would be like, okay, I need to wind down, like lay down, wind down, and then next thing I know, it's like an hour or two later, and I was like, well, yes, I'm sleeping. And then like I slept, like today I slept till like, I want to say 1 p.m. or something like that. Like I slept late. And even whenever I woke up at 1 p.m., I wasn't like, I need to get up. I was like, I want to continue laying down. So that was basically my day, more than anything, at least. How about you, man? How was your weekend?
Oh man, it's been pretty busy. So you can see that I am kind of a lobster right now. It's because I got a little bit of sun today. So yesterday our town finally decided to do a sail trail where, pretty much like everyone in your town like tells where all the yard sales are, and it's a trail and everyone goes to them. Okay. So I just had a whole bunch of Amazon stuff that I usually sell on eBay that doesn't sell on eBay, so I was like, okay, I'll just throw this out. And I had some stuff in the basement that just had to go, so we did a yard sale for the last 2 days. So yeah, it was kind of fun. Didn't really do too much after that. We just kind of was like, okay, we'll just, because it got to a point today where it was 4 o'clock and the last person I saw was like an hour ago, and I was like, all right, let's pack it up. I'm done. I'm done. I'm just done. And so we went in, and the funniest part was like, this was pretty funny. I have to tell this story. She's laying right back there and she's laughing right now because she knows I'm going to tell this story. So what's really funny is I was taking our mom home from the yard sale, and I stopped at, what's it called? I stopped at Papa John's to pick up pizza because that's what she wanted for dinner. And then I was like waiting, and then I was like, all right, it's time for me to go. So I left, got the Papa John's after hanging out with Mom for a minute. Then I went home, and I like open up the door, and I see Ralph like sitting behind, like, where the kitchen is. He's like looking at the back door, and he's just like staring. And I was like, buddy, what's going on? Where's Mommy? And she's over by the door outside, and she's like going like this. And I was like, did you lock yourself out? And she goes, yeah, I've been out here for half an hour. I was like, oh no. So she was out there the whole time, and she was like, I even like played with these flowers and stuff because I was waiting for you to get home. And then I was like, why didn't you use the key? And she's like, what? And I was like, there's a key in the tub because we had the same problem one other time where you got locked out and there's a key. And she's like, I opened up the tub and I didn't see a key. I was like, did you look at the bottom of the tub? And she goes, no, I just look at the stuff on the top. And I'm like, do you think a key's gonna stay there? Like, I was like, you need to look. And she's like, there wasn't a key. So then I ended up pulling the key out. It was a little corroded, but I was like, this would have still worked. And she's like, whatever. She locked herself out. It was so funny coming over that. Oh man. But
That's something. All right.
yep.
That's
Yep,
something.
yep. Yeah, that's something.
Oh boy, I don't know, man. I don't know.
The best part is like there was a key and she could have been in the whole time.
Yeah.
Just something out of a movie.
Yeah, I mean I had like a similar situation with that, but I didn't have a way out. Did I ever tell you about that? No, I definitely told you about that.
Yeah.
Where like I locked myself into the basement accidentally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the door going into our basement has two locks, one that you bolt and then another one that's like automatic whenever it shuts effectively, right? And this was whenever I just got Molly about like a year into her like having her, and I was used to just putting her in my room and shutting the door, but she was being really good and not like trying to go down the basement and everything. And then one time I think what happened was I was doing my laundry and either she got out or someone let her out, and I don't know which is which. And I was walking up after putting my stuff in and I see that she's about to get into the door, and so I instinctively grab the door and like shut it, thinking like, oh, don't let her down in the basement, because our basement is not like a redone basement, it's like almost like a cellar almost, and there's probably ways for her to get out and everything. And I shut it instinctively, and I'm like, okay, I'll have to grab her when I open the door. And then that's when I realized the door was shut and locked. And I was like, oh, only someone on the other side can let me out. And I don't have my phone. And so I just sat there and started knocking and hoping someone hears me. And then like, I forget like how it resolved. Like I tried going to the neighbor's side because we're in like a duplex, but the neighbor side was like I'm not going to go up to the neighbor's house, and then their back way was locked as well. So I was like, all right, well I guess I'm just stuck down here, I guess. And so I just chilled there for like, I think it was like 20 minutes, and like I just periodically knocked if I heard noises or whatnot. And then finally I think Terry got home and opened the door, and he's like, what happened? I'm like, Molly, like someone let Molly out, or like something happened with Molly, or maybe it was Terry came downstairs, something happened, someone let me out. And then from then on I put a key in the basement hidden and told everyone like, hey, if you're ever stuck down there, here's this. So now everyone knows. I'm just like, after that I was like, man, what a trash situation to be in, but I did that to myself, I guess. But what can you do, you know? Sometimes you just gotta take what you get and hope and pray that you can get out of it with a decent situation. Speaking of a decent situation, Austin, tonight we're talking about Mythic Quest season 4 finale, which I guess is the series finale, because right after we got done with the episode of last week when we talked about it, they officially announced that season 4 is the final season of Mythic Quest. It got canceled, but they chose to edit the final episode to make it end on a more solid note to a degree. Austin, what'd you think of season 4 of Mythic Quest?
I like how we do this every week, where it's like, what did you think?
Yeah,
but
this was this year. Like, this is new, and you haven't talked about it. So really, what'd you think?
I enjoyed it. I did like this season a little bit. I did like the Clue episode. Clue episode is solid. I love that episode.
It wasn't really Clue. It was Mafia.
Yeah, or whatever it is. It's a bummer that the show's being canceled. I really gonna miss it. But also, there was no like serious episode this,
so that was the thing that I was wondering. I guess my thought process, the serious episode was the rebrand episode with Puishu. Yeah, because like that doesn't really have anything to do with anyone.
Yeah,
but it like finishes up his character, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah.
But no, you're not wrong. Like, that was the only serious episode, and it kind of ended on not really on a funny note, but it has a funny moment. But I think that is the serious episode. But it just didn't feel as serious slash like removed as the other episodes, which is probably why it was a little bit of a question mark. Is this that episode?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and then on top of it, I did like that they finally brought Charlie Day in.
Yeah, he shows up for that episode.
Yeah, I liked him as that. I was waiting for him to show up sooner or later because he is like a creator of it. Like he's part of the creation team. So I was like, yeah, Charlie Day's got to show up sometime. Which I was really excited that he got to play that character because he was funny in that. But overall, it's it's a little bittersweet. It like because the thing is like I watched this before we even thought about before it was canceled. So like I enjoy this show. I don't know what it is. It's something that has to do with it, but I kind of really enjoy this show. It's a bummer to me because I think SideQuest, their other show that they did,
you told them that,
4 episodes, is really good too. And I'm like, man, I hope someone does pick it up. I hope someone does pick it up from Apple TV, because the problem that you have with Apple TV, in my opinion, is a lot of people don't want to pay for another subscription. And
I don't did they say why it got canceled?
I don't know. I have no clue why. Because
like I know that it wasn't a super big popular thing, but I don't know if it's an Apple TV like we're canceling it because we don't want it no more and no one's picking it up type deal thing, or if it's more like, hey, we're just not going to pay for this and we're going to keep it,
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
I have no idea if like anyone could even buy it,
Yeah. Be a whole HBO Westworld thing.
Yeah. Like I guess like if it was because they threw that freaking Apple TV original thing all over the place with it, and so I'm like, it's coming straight from Apple TV, so I don't think they're going to actually like sell the rights to make it more.
I don't know. You never know. But I will say this, like, I don't know. I think maybe they should do something with it. Like, not just like Apple do it, but they need to have like that cat or, Rob McElhenney like do something else. Because I know he has like another show that I've heard of, but like I've never watched either. I forget the name of it. But yeah, I don't know. I think I really enjoy the show. I thought season 4 was good. I enjoyed season 4. But what did you think of it?
So, how do I say it? I liked the season. I thought the season was fine. I liked the dynamic that they had going for most, like, half of the season. And then I felt like it kind of changed and didn't feel as good in my head once Poppy got pregnant. Up until that, I really liked the show itself. I liked the whole thing about like the one woman speaking bad at Congress and basically got all the negative onto her. I like the fact that Joe DiMaggio showed back up. I was really happy about that. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Like, I thought I enjoyed the episodes. But it just, I don't know, it the vibe of it changed once Poppy became pregnant. And then it's like, oh, I wonder like what they're trying to do with this. Because like speaking even about like the ending of the show before the edit changed, they had like the whole kissing scene with Poppy and Ian at the end there, right? And I'm like, after last season, they kind of made that little vibe of like, oh, Poppy and Ian could possibly get together because Poppy obviously has feelings for him, or at least has some form of feeling with it. And then they kind of like threw that away with like her dating some dude. And that's a very common thing in like TV shows or like movies or specifically TV shows where you have two characters that's a will they won't they situation. And so the creators will take the woman or even the male or like whoever they are and have one of them start dating someone really seriously. And then through the process of them dating, the other person realizes that they truly do have feelings on that person. And I think that's where I thought they were going with that. And then it just, they just incorporated like the whole pregnancy thing. And I was like, I don't think Poppy needed that. Like, I think her character was like really interesting prior. And I think it fell into the pregnancy conundrum. Because I don't know if it's me or if this is actually like a true like stereotype in like writing or whatnot, but it always feels like sometimes like in like sitcoms or like drama shows, if they don't know what to do with a character, they'll give them like a life altering event, and most people change it to either pregnancy or like I have to move away, like I have a new job type deal thing. And then it's like, well, that completely changes the story that's been happening now. And now it goes on to another thing of X, Y, and Z. And I don't know if I really was vibing on that, because I very much was enjoying the like Poppy as an individual and like wanting to like do what she wants to do and have all this great stuff. And then like Ian being self-centered or whatnot. Like, even though like I found them both very distracting a lot of times together, I very much felt like the additive of that was like, why did you do that? Why did you make her get pregnant? I don't know. I don't know how I fully feel about that. Since like processing wise, it felt like a weird story to do, unless what their intention was doing was to do another 2 seasons and like Poppy and Ian get together, and Ian is like learns to be the father that he was never with Pootie Shoot. And especially whenever it's not really his child type deal thing, or if that's what they were trying to go for and they lost out on another season or 2, and that's what they choose to just retcon effectively. Because with the changes, they removed the kiss. That's all they did. They just removed the kiss
and then changed it with a hug.
Yeah, well, no, they had the hug prior. They just removed the kiss and made them become like friends, we're gonna work together type deal thing. But then like that doesn't really solve anything, because the whole team is in limbo, because they're like, we're getting like Joe is going to be the new like corporate lead and everyone's going to be under her type deal thing, and everyone's kind of like, like what's going on? And it just felt like if they had the opportunity to reshoot or re-edit stuff and they edit only that but not like the rest of the cast, it was weird and felt kind of empty. I will say personally, I like the removal of the kiss more than the kiss itself, just because this whole season they were very much trying to separate Poppy and Ian from each other and be like, they're going to be their own things, like they're separate from each other. And then that last scene they get together and it's like, if they had 2 more seasons, maybe like we could have a conversation of this. The removal of it is fine. Like, the 2 main characters don't always have to be together, and sometimes it's better that they don't. I liked Poppy as an individual. I liked Ian as an individual. I don't know if I wanted them to be together, you know? I wanted Ian to find, like, you know what? I'm gonna be this guy. You know How I Met Your Mother?
Yeah.
You ever watched like the series itself or the ending? Ian very much gives me a Neil Patrick Harris character vibes. where he's like this super successful, super smart, super charismatic, could be a lazy man if you wanted to be, blah 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 blah, right? But the ending of How I Met Your Mother, a lot of people didn't like it for different reasons. The one thing I really liked about How I Met Your Mother ending was Barney's ending, where he accidentally gets a girl pregnant and he realizes that the one thing he loves is like this child, like the child that just gave birth, because he's only cared about himself and was self-centered and everything. And then finally he has something that kind of latches him into the world of being like, I need to be better, not for myself, because I don't care about that, I think I'm perfect, but for this individual. And I'm like, that's great. Barney needed that. That's what Ian needed. He needed someone that he like viewed as like more important than himself and wanted to love. And like he had like his child, but obviously he was too like immature and young whenever he first had him to really understand that. Yeah. And so like maybe they were trying to do something with that with Poppy, with like her boyfriend didn't want to keep it, and so he like breaks up with her and runs away effectively. And then Poppy was on her own, and Ian was there to be like the platonic, like surrogate father almost, or whatever that term's called. Because, you know, relationships like that happen a lot more than what people realize, like where someone is just a solo parent and then their like best friend is like, hey, I'll be there for the kid too. Like they're a part of you. I'm friends. Like I love you as a friend. I'm going to be there for them. And I think that would have been a real cool story to tell between the three. You would see Ian learn to be less selfish, impart like his charisma and love onto the kid. Poppy would learn to like trust other people with her individual pieces. That 100% could be what they're going for. I don't know. But we won't know because it got canceled.
Yeah, just left it up in the air.
Yep.
What do you think about the testers this season? I actually liked their whole storyline with the HR lady. I thought that was funny.
I found it funny to a degree. They very much felt like side characters, like, hey, we're just here for this like little bit of a bit here, which was fine. I liked that. I thought it was kind of funny. And then like the whole ending with her having like a dream of like them all three together, I was like, you know, that is an option. Y'all can go that route. And then she wakes up from the dream and I was like, she knows what she wants. But I don't know. It was funny. I saw it coming the second that the one guy started like going, I won't leave. I love you. Handcuffs him. And then the friend comes in. He's like, hey, you fell off your wagon. I'm here to help you. And then he turns to her and he's like, I'm here. If you need anyone to talk to, let me know. I was like, she's just down bad for anyone who has some type of emotional,
like baggage or something.
Not emotional emotional maturity. Because they both, she got interested in them because they were like, hey, if you ever need to talk to someone, I'm here to listen. And then next thing you know, she's with them, you know? So it's like, she just needs someone to like talk to and like vent out her stuff. She's an HR person and she complained to them about being like, hey, I'm not your therapist. She needs a therapist. Like she needs a therapist to like deal with her stuff because those guys cannot deal with it, nor can those guys deal with her. Like she is too much of a person for them. And I don't know, it's a funny situation, but at the same time it's just like she needs to figure out why she falls for anyone who has any type of emotional intelligence. She has kids. But it was fun. I did find it funny. I very much liked the Mafia episode, probably the most of everything. Because anytime they introduce an episode where it's just like a huge departure from the rest of the episodes, I always tend to enjoy. I think the rebrand episode was pretty cool. I love the fact that the second he got into like, I knew they were going to do the joke that he got like knocked the heck out really badly. The second that it was an MMA fight and not a boxing match. Because the thing about boxing is that it's like you go in there and there's only so many punches you can do. You know, there's so many types of punches. I started doing this to Molly and she just started biting me. But the second they're like MMA, I'm like, the dude's going to do like a Superman punch. He doesn't do a Superman punch. He does like a flying knee from like Street Fighters and one KOs the kid. And the second that happened, I was like, yep, that's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
That's the funny thing. You just expect him to do something, then you just get absolutely annihilated. But no, that was a good episode. I think the series itself was good. I know I read like online, like some of the people that I was reading, like different comments or whatever on it. People were like, season 1 and 2 were the best. I don't know. I don't know which season I like the most. They all kind of blended together, and I think the main reason why it happened that way with me is because the premise never really changed much in different aspects. It was very much like each season was just, we need to make a new thing for our games. It needs to be more popular. It needs to be this. And then everything else is kind of like coded around it. This season was actually more of like, it was the people, not about the game as much, you know? Like the game wasn't like, we need a new expansion. It was like, hey, we're dealing with our stuff. Hey, we did this expansion all by ourselves behind the scene. Yeah, I don't know. It was interesting. It was weird.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say that, you know, it's a bummer that it's gone. I totally say, but I will say that I'm okay with it ending though too. Like I totally get it. Because the thing is like it. You know, I've heard a lot of people talk about how there was a lot of people that watch this show too much because of Apple TV Plus, and a lot of people don't watch any of Apple TV Plus shows because like I hardly ever usually get. I think the only one that like most people tell me to watch for TV Plus is Severance. Like everyone's like, you gotta watch that, it's so good. And then there was another show with Chris Evans. He was like, it was one of the first Apple TV shows. Defending Jacob, that's what it was. But that was it. Like I don't really know too much Apple TV shows, but also too is it doesn't justify me to like, I don't like Apple to begin with. Like I've never have. So like me getting an Apple TV Plus subscription would be just crazy and absurd. So I was like, yep, not doing that.
and see, like that's part of the thing about the
exclusivity.
The exclusivity of like Apple TV, right?
Yeah.
Is like whenever you first like pitched this and you're like, let's watch this, it's on Apple TV. I was like, what the freak? I didn't even know they do shows on Apple TV. And sure enough, they did. And I'm sure that they do like good shows. But like you said, no one wants to pay the additional subscription for things like that. And like these streaming services who are trying to like they're trying to be like streaming services, they're shooting themselves in the foot, I feel, because they like constantly like make shows exclusively on their like platform.
Yeah.
And it's like, when you do that, you're not making your show like hard for you to like, making people want to flock to your streaming service. You're making people not want to mess with it. There's a reason why, Austin, like when we watch, whenever I look at like my stuff, right, I tend to put in like one new series every month, but then I'm rewatching the same show that I've watched 1,000 times, 10 times over by the time. And it's because I care about those shows, and new shows I take a little bit. So I don't know. It feels weird to me for that reason alone, where I'm just like, they need to either all work together to release a giant streaming service for like money, or just stop releasing streaming services and make deals with certain streaming services, because ain't no one caring.
No.
And then you have the good shows like this that are going to get like a couple seasons, and people are going to like it who actually find it, and by the time other people find it, it's too late. Kind of like what Community was, where everyone found Community during the pandemic and they're like, this show was absolutely amazing. Why did no one see it? It's because it was on ABC whenever, or it was because it was on the same time slot as The Office, and no one was looking at anything but The Office at that time. And it's like, yeah, except now it's all paywall behind other things. Like, no one's going to look on Apple TV because no one wants to mess with Apple TV. They got their little Netflix, or they got Hulu, or whatever it is.
Yep. Yeah, it's a bummer because you get like, you know, because the thing is, I think this show would on like maybe Netflix. I think it would have really thrived on Netflix, because like I've watched things on Netflix recently with my wife where like she'll put something on and then she'll be like, hey, look at this, and then we watch it and we're like, hey, it's okay, like it's not half bad. And I could see this show being a Netflix thing where it's like a bunch of people would watch it on Netflix, but it's like how I've always felt with like Nintendo and like how they have their properties. I never liked that concept of like Nintendo having just, oh, here's Mario Kart, here's Super Smash Bros. You can't get any of this unless you order like the system that we put it on. And like, I feel like sometimes it drives me nuts, because I'm like, I really would like to play this game, but I'm not buying a Nintendo Switch for that game. Like that's just ridiculous.
Yep.
That's like, you know, because like Nintendo Switch right now, like the Switch 2 is so freaking expensive. And then on top of it, they're gonna like mark their games up to $90. And I'm just like, that's a lot of money. $100 almost for a game? That's ridiculous. And they're like, oh yeah, people will pay for it. And I'm like, look, whoever's paying for that, like, sooner or later you're gonna get to a point where you're not gonna want to buy that console just for the games, or maybe
it's not even that, you know, right? Like a lot of people made the defense of like the $90 game, where they're like, to be fair, video games have always been that expensive, because of like production area stuff, you know, things like creating the discs and everything are important. But it's also like, games haven't increased in price in over like 30 years, even though inflation has increased. And people are like, it's about time it increases, like that's how it should happen. It's like, there's a difference between entertainment than anything else. The reason why entertainment doesn't get affected with inflation as well is because people will drop entertainment before there are other things necessary. People complain about food, shelter, and everything being expensive, but they don't talk about entertainment being expensive, because if it becomes too expensive, they just stop doing it. There's a reason why all the streaming services keep losing people, or like, you know, theaters are like, we're going out of business. People don't want to stop watching movies. They're just not going to pay the price to go and see those movies as they are. It's no different from like the Switch stuff. They're going to get people to buy the Switch 2 and all that stuff. You're going to have a lot of people just choose it's not worth it, and they're not going to do it, and they're going to hurt for it. And in order for them to make a profit, they're going to have to find ways to make it cheaper, or they're going to have to just wait and then over time recuperate their loss. And depending on the company, they may not be able to do that. Nintendo will be able to do that because they're such a big company, but they're probably going to have a bad sale history like they did with like the Wii U, because that was the thing. The Wii, super cheap, easy to buy, you got what you wanted. Switch, not much different from Switch 2, a little bit of a stronger thing. People are moving towards the computer age now. Like, why buy a console every like 5 years when you can just spend like that same amount of money and have a good computer for nearly 10 years? Like, it's a thing. Like, well, that whole thing is going to figure itself out in time. Either the prices will increase or the prices will go down. Who knows? And streaming service is no different. And that, I think that's what we're seeing here is not everyone is big on Apple TV. And so you miss a lot of good shows like Mythic Quest, and they lose out on it because not everyone's going to get into Apple TV. Speaking of which, this is a funny thing because this just came up in my head. You know, we're talking about streaming services and everything like that. You know, the correct way of handling streaming services, in my opinion, is what they're doing with Has Been Hotel, right? You sent it to me over TikTok, but what's funny, I already watched it like a day before when it first was initially posted. But Has Been Hotel is on Amazon Prime, right? Amazon is probably one of the easiest thing for a lot of people to have because a lot of people have Amazon already for their shopping needs if they live in the place that shopping is not that easy to get to. Mainly the city is the big place. Where you're from, Austin, some other people, you don't need to shop on Amazon because like there's a lot of stores around you, so on and so forth, whatever. But Has Been Hotel has been renewed for 2 more seasons, so up to 4 seasons now. Season 2 is coming out at some point. Vizions also has a show called Hell of a Boss, which we haven't done on the show yet. It's one of the shows that I want to do on the show. I very much enjoy it. And they're already 2 seasons in. And animation costs a lot, and it takes time. And people really love Hell of a Boss. Well, Hell of a Boss just got partnered up with Amazon now, so they're going to start funding them to finish up Hell of a Boss, like make more episodes of it. And a lot of people are happy about that. A lot of people are fantastic, like excited about it because of the changes that possibly it's going to make to the story, because now the two can interlap with each other where before they couldn't. Well, people thought, oh, what if it's on Amazon, is this going to be a paywall thing? Now they're like, no. How it's going to work, and this is how I feel like all shows should probably work, like if they want these streaming services to do good, Hell of a Boss is going to release on Amazon Prime, and then a month or so later, after it's fully released, it'll release on YouTube in its entirety, as it always does. So when you pay for Amazon Prime, what you're doing is paying on the ability to watch it earlier, not just exclusively there. And that's how these streaming services need to do it. Apple TV, you want to have Mythic Quest on your Apple TV? Cool. Have it done exclusively for a month on your thing, and then branch out to the other streaming services and offer a deal for them to air it on their things. Pull those audiences in. Then whenever they're working on season 4, and all these other places get 1 or 2 seasons, they're like, ooh, we want that next season. They'll buy that subscription in order to watch it. You know what other show did this, Austin? And it worked? Better Call Saul. Because when we were watching it on the show, it was available on Netflix, but only 2 seasons of it. And there was 4 seasons. The 4th one was coming out. The 3rd season was already out. I paid for AMC Plus to watch that 3rd season because I'm like, I gotta know what happened. That's how they need to do it. And it makes me upset because I feel like Mythic Quest could have continued and been like a good show if the corporations weren't so like, this is exclusively only on us show. It's like, no, it should be released like exclusively for a short time. Gaming has already been doing this for a while. One of the games I really enjoy is Final Fantasy 16. And that game was released for a half a year only on PlayStation, and then it came to PC. I bought the game and I enjoyed the crud out of it. We can do that with anything. We don't need to sit here and try and make it's only available on X, Y, and Z. Like, just make it available elsewhere. It's better for the people create, like the artists and the directors and the visual teams and everyone who are working on these shows for that to happen, because that gives them also more pushback, more money back, and it gets them to be able to work better and do more. And I don't know. I'm sorry ranting. I'm done ranting. It's just it's so frustrating, man. I hate it.
No, I get it. It's just, no, I'm with you. It just gets to a point where you're just like I'm just sick of it.
Yep. Well, Austin, I think that basically covers us for this episode of Mythic Quest for season finale. Good series. Wish it would have continued. I felt like they had plans for something, but you can't do nothing whenever the studio just chose to cancel it, and that's what it is.
Yeah. You know, and that's the thing. Like, I'm to a point where, like, I don't even, you know, I understand why, but it upsets me because the show like this would thrive on Netflix. Like, I know it would. Like, you know, I just don't like the exclusivity stuff. Where it's just like, this is Netflix only, or this is like Amazon only. Like, because the thing is, it's like, I totally understand. You can only do this only thing, in my opinion, is if you're already a player in the platform. Like, Prime works that way. Prime is perfect example of like having that exclusivity, because people have Prime already for the delivery thing. Netflix has been around for so long that people have Netflix.
The second that Prime makes it that you have to pay additional to have your video on it, people are going to stop watching it. You know, like, I have a Red subscription to YouTube, specifically, not even because like I really like YouTube or anything like that. It's because I watch YouTube so much. No, it's for me, it's my YouTube music, right? Like my YouTube, I watch like my shows all the time, and I want the ability to download them, so I'm not spending data going everywhere. However, like you mentioned, YouTube music is free when you have Prime. And so when people ask me, how are you listening to music? I'm like, YouTube music, because it's basically free. It's not why I buy YouTube Prime or Premium. It's why it's why I'm using it. And so they can sit there and say that they have me as a listener all this time because I'm paying for YouTube. And until they try to separate the two, it's fine. At first, I didn't like YouTube music. I prefer Google Play. And then Google Play went out, like they like closed it down, and then they're like, hey, you don't get Google Play no more, but you have YouTube Music. And I was like, but I was buying my music on Google Play, and now all that money that I bought my music on, I don't have no more, because you guys just decided that you're not going to give me my stuff anymore. So licensing is also another thing. I'm not going to go into it because I can sit here, we can talk about crap like that for hours, but that's not what we're going to do. All right, Austin. So next week, we're going to be watching Invincible Season 3 that just finished up a couple weeks ago, or maybe a month ago. I forget exactly how long ago. And then after Invincible, we're going to do Daredevil, and then we'll be back onto whatever we want to watch, or whatever we feel inclined to force each other to watch. Till then. So Austin, I want to thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Bros and Shows.
Yeah.
And thank you all so much for stopping by, and thank you all so much for tuning in.